A while ago, I found myself in a rut that found me focusing on one thing in my life: work. Now, I'm not saying I was immensely stressed by work or not enjoying it. Far from it. I love my job, the people we work with, and the work we do. But I found that my life was being consistently taken up with work. Getting up, getting dressed for work, travelling to work, being in work, travelling home from work, and so consumed, unfortunately, still in work, that I found I was getting home and reaching for the mobile, as we all do, and checking for work emails. And a problem was forming. I was getting so consumed in work that I was widening the gap between work and life. And more worryingly, I found I had very little else to talk about but work. When friends or family would ask how I was or what I was up to, I found my standard response was becoming, good, loads on, work's really, really busy. Yeah, got loads on at work, yeah. Don't really know what else I've been doing, but yeah, no, work's really, really good. And I had this overwhelming fear that I was becoming boring. I needed to bridge that gap between work and life. So where to start? Well, realization is always a good one. But luckily for me, I also have a helping hand in a coach, a person I have complete admiration for and faith in. Someone who is not afraid to challenge me and ask me those questions that perhaps if a friend or family were to do it, they might be a little scared by my reaction. So I went to my coach and I brought her my rut. I said, I'm struggling with work, what do I do? Sessions followed, and between us we came up with 5 to thrive. If I could find my five people, my 5 actions, my 5 ideas that could help me get out of the rut and bridge that gap between work and life. And a crazy thing happened, actually. As soon as I realized that I could have 5, I felt re-energized, rejuvenated. I couldn't wait to start thinking about who or what my 5 might be. And bear with me, but this is kind of like a hairdryer moment for me. So for a lot of you, it could be a light bulb moment. The spark goes off and realization hits. Well, for me, it's a hairdryer moment. So imagine hairdryer in one hand, brush in the other, brandishing, pretending to know what it's doing, trying to style my hair. I end up giving up. But I find out that this hand can't really do anything, and this hand is just using the hairdryer. So I found actually that I could use these moments to contemplate, and occasionally I could actually crack something that was really bothering me. So they are my hairdryer moments. So my 5 to thrive, 5 people, ideas, or actions that I could use to bridge that gap. And what if I was to be really strategic about my 5 and deliberately choose them? I mean, let's face it, we live in a world where we're surrounded by people and greats, so why not choose 5 greats that can help us? 5 people, ideas, or actions. So, to my 5. My first, friends and family. Well, I'm grouping these as one because it's my 5 after all. But these people are my constant. And going through this process of identifying who my 5 are just showed that to me. And it's important that I make time for these people. So I offer to take my nieces and nephews for overnight stays. I take my mum for shopping on a Saturday morning. I make time for date night with my husband. And I plan ahead to have girls' nights out, even if it's weeks or months in advance, just to have them. So my first, my friends and family. So to my second, well, it was staring me blatantly in the face. My challenger, the external input of a person, could be a colleague, it could be a coach, but someone who's not afraid to challenge me and ask me those awkward questions. And sometimes the input that a coach can give or a challenger can give can be pretty baffling and bewildering, but just like those hairdryer moments, sometimes they give you that little spark, that's something that sticks and something that makes you think. And for me, I'm really lucky because I have more than one challenger in my life. I have 2. I have my coach, but I also have my boss, the man who challenged me to be here tonight, and indeed the man who introduced me to coaching. And for that, I have to be very grateful because the benefits that an external input can bring are terrific. So 2 of my 5, 2 people that are close to me. But what if I was to look to the periphery? What if I was to look to people that I don't actually know? People that are of no immediate proximity to me? And let's face it, why can't we? We are surrounded by people, whether we follow them on social media, whether we read about them in the news, read about them in business books, And why not use these people to really see if we can thrive, to ask them to help us to bridge the gap. So for my third, I did just that. I looked to the periphery, and I looked to the world of sport. Sportsmen and women completely inspire me. I think their dedication is fantastic, and I'm particularly fond of Wimbledon. In 2003, I was fortunate enough to actually work in Wimbledon, and it was the same year that Roger Federer won his Wimbledon championship. Now, to me, Roger Federer epitomises everything a sports person should be. His performance is fantastic, and his comeback has been quite extraordinary. Roger Federer recently said, "I believe that if you're stuck in a hole and things aren't going your way, you will get stronger, because everything in life is this way." And I can really relate to that, because when I'm stuck in a rut, I turn to my 5 and I try to get them to help me to be stronger. And so, to my fourth, well, I look to actions. Running. Now, it's no surprise to know that exercise is great for the soul. It's a really good activity to be doing to help with your mental and your well-being. And for me, it's something that's actually re-energized my desire to do it. I was never a runner, not even really a jogger. I think I decided like I'm a light jogger. But when a friend of mine recently asked me to help her or to join her in a Couch to 5K, I said yes. I was terrified, but I said yes. And now we are completely loving it. We were even out last night, running in the cold, and it's such a thrill. And someone I know did say to me, if you can go out and run in the cold and the dark, it's amazing what your mind can do. You can find new approaches to problems that can help with you tomorrow. So that's my fourth. So my fifth, reflection. Reflecting on things that have happened that have been good and that have been bad. Asking myself, how would I do things again? And actually just being grateful for some things. So I recently watched a movie, and it was about a young man who had inherited his father's ability to time travel. And he would go back every day and he would relive the last day, having reflected on how he'd behaved. So the cashier at the coffee shop that morning that he had dismissed because he was in a rush, he went back and he smiled and he gave them a warm welcome. The colleague that he had failed to acknowledge was struggling with a piece of work. He went back and he helped. And the sunshine that was shining, which he completely missed because he was running between meetings, he came back and he acknowledged it and recognised and appreciated the sunshine. Until he realised that he didn't have to keep going back every day. He could reflect there and then and make decisions to actually change his behaviour. So there's my 5. My friends and family, my challenger, Roger Federer, which is quite easy on the eye as well, running, and reflection. And these 5 taught me not only just to bridge that gap and to get me out of the rut, but they also reawakened a lot of my senses and got me onto the path of thriving rather than surviving. Now, a lot of what I might have said to you tonight could just have sounded like complete common sense. But as someone said to me recently, common sense is very commonly not applied. So ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to leave you with the question that whatever your rut might be, how would you bridge that gap? What are your 5 to thrive? Thank you.